Brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel Yarn with Abarna. In this video, we are going to see how can we knit this easy and fast baby sweater. So in this video, I am going to show this for 3 to 6 month baby. The total length of the sweater is 10 inches. The width of the baby sweater is 9.5 inches. Let's start. Before going to this video, if you visit my channel first time means please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Keep support, keep watching. Let's start our project. For this project, I am going to use 3.5 mm knitting needle, that is straight needle. After that, you want double pointed needle. The size is 3.5 mm. If you don't have this double pointed needle means you can use circular needle. Alternate for this. Let's start. Now I am going to make cast on 70 for this baby sweater. I am going to use long tail cast on method. So I am going to make a slip knot. After making the slip knot, now I am going to make cast on 70. This is my first one. 2, 3, 4. I made 70 cast on. Now I am going to start my project. So I always slip the first loop in knitwise and always I am making purl stitch into the last loop. This is used for clear edges. Only for this reason I always slip the first loop in knitwise. I always make the purl stitch into the last loop. Now I am going to make 10 rows of knit stitch. So you have gathered stitch. So I simply slip the first loop in knitwise. After that I simply make one knit stitch in every loop. I simply make one knit stitch in every loop like this. I make the knit stitch into the front leg of every loop. You can see this is the front leg, this is the back leg. So I simply make knit stitch in every front leg. This is my last loop. Into this I am going to make a purl stitch, purl 1. So I am going to continue this total of 10 rows. So I am going to work my row 2. I simply slip the first loop in knitwise. I simply make one knit stitch in every loop. Into the last loop I simply make the purl stitch. I am going to continue this total of 10 rows. You can see now I finish 10 rows, that is 5 lines. Now we do some calculation. So totally I have 70 cast on, 70 stitches. Now I am going to divide like this. So 6 for the button part. So 9 for one friend, this is for another friend. This 2 is used for increase. So I am going to divide like this. This 7, these 7 is used for sleeve. This 18 stitches for the back part. So 6 button part. We are going to use 12 stitches. Front we are going to use 9 18. So these 2 totally I have 4 times of 2, so 8. For the sleeve we are going to use 14 stitches. For the back we are going to use 18 stitches. So totally you have 70 stitches. Now I am going to apply this for our project. So let's start. I always slip the first loop in knitwise. I am going to use 6 for the button part. Only for that reason I am going to mark that 6, 2, 4, 6. So these 6 loops for used button part. So last 6 loops used for button part. Okay, let's start. Now I am going to make the buttonhole. So always slip the first loop in knitwise and always make the purl stitch into the last loop. Please remind this. So after slip the first loop in knitwise, this is my second knit stitch. Now I am going to knit 2 together, then increase one loop. Like this way I am going to increase one loop, then knit 2. So if you do like this means the total number of the stitches is same, but you have buttonhole in this place. So only for this reason I am going to work like this. After this, move the marker. Now for the front I have 9 loops, so I simply make 9 knit stitch into the next 9 loops. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and then 9. After making 9 loops I have 2. So if you have reached this 2 means you are going to make 1 increase before this 2. After this 2 you are going to make 1 increase. So after making 9 knit stitch I am going to make 1 increase like this. Make 2 knit stitch. After making these 2 I am going to make 1 more increase. So after that, for the sleeve I have 7. So I make 7 knit stitch into the next 7 loops. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. After finishing 7 I am going to reach these 2. So I am going to make 1 increase before this 2 and I am going to make a 1 increase after this 2. So 1 increase, 2 knit stitch, then 1 increase. So now I have 18 loops in my back. So I am going to make 18 knit stitch into the next 18 loops. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 and then 18. So after finishing these 18, now I am going to reach these 2. So I am going to increase, then 2 knit stitch, then 1 increase. So now I am going to here, so that is 7. So I am going to make 7 knit stitch into the next 7 loops. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and then 7. Now I am going to reach these 2. So I am going to increase before this 2 and I am going to 1 increase after this 2. So 1 increase, 2 knit stitch, then 1 increase. So I am going to here, that is 9. So I am going to make 9 knit stitch. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Sorry, I did a small mistake. Instead of 70 I simply cast on 69. So I am going to increase 1 loops in here. So that is my mistake. So this is my 9th loop. Okay, so after finishing these 9 I have remaining 6 loops. So this 6 loops used for the button part. So I simply replace the marker. Now I am going to make 6 knit stitch. So this is my last loop, so I simply make purl stitch into the last. So I am going to turn my project. So this is the wrong side of my project. In every wrong side I simply make 1 purl stitch in every loop. So this button part always I make 1 knit stitch. So remaining these loops I simply make purl stitch in every loop. So in this button part I simply make a knit stitch. If you reach right side or wrong side, you simply make 1 knit stitch in every button part. So in this place, if you working in right side means you are going to make knit stitch. If you are going to working in wrong side means you are going to make purl stitch, because this place we are going to use stockinette stitch, this place we are going to use gatter stitch. Only for that reason, if you work in wrong side means in this place you simply make purl stitch in every loop. Okay, So this is my wrong side of my project. So this is the button part. So I simply make one knit stitch in every loop like this. I replace the marker. Now I simply make one purl stitch in every loop like this. You can see I simply make one purl stitch in every loop. I simply make the purl stitch in every front leg of the loop. So this is that one increase. Into this I simply make one purl stitch in the front leg. If you are going to make a purl stitch into the back leg, means it not look like a hole. So in this pattern I am going to work like one small hole. So I am going to make a purl stitch into the front leg. Okay, I simply make front leg. This is the increase. Into this also I am going to make a one purl stitch into the front. I simply make one purl stitch in every loop. Okay, after reaching this I'll show you. You can see I simply make one purl stitch in every loop. This is my another button part. So into this also I simply make one knit stitch. So this is that increase. So into this front loop I make a knit stitch. If you are going to make a knit stitch into the back loop, means it does not create the button hole. So I am going to make the knit stitch like this. This is my last loop, so I am going to make a purl stitch. So now I am going to work in my right side. I simply make one knit stitch in every loop. So please remind this, if you are reaching these two, so these two mean you are going to increase one loop before this two, and after this two you are going to make one increase. Please remind that one point. So I simply slip the first loop in knitwise. I simply make one knit stitch in every loop. I replace the marker. Now for the front part, in previous row for the front part I have 9, in this row for the front part I have 10. So one increase in every row. In next row that is going to be 11, into the next row that is going to be the 12. So one increase in front part, and also the sleeve, and also the back part also. So for the sleeve in this row you have 8, for the back in this row you have 19, for the another sleeve 8, for the another front 10. So in every row that is going to be increased one by one. So please remind this. So I simply make one knit stitch like this until you reach this two. How can you find these two? That is the next question. You can see this is that two. How can you find? Because in this two, before and after you have some little space. You can see so this is that two. Into this, before I am going to increase 1, and after that I am going to increase 1. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is that one increase in my previous row. So I simply make one knit stitch. After this I am going to reach these two loops. So I am going to increase 1, then knit 2, and I am going to increase 1, then I am going to continue in the next loops, next set of the loops, until I reach the next two loops. You can see this is the next two loops, because before these two loops I have little space, after these two loops I have little space. From this I am going to identify this is the next two loops. So until you reach these, you simply make one knit stitch. If you reach these two loops, you can see this is the next two loops, because before this one space, after this one space. If you reach these two, means before this you are going to increase, after this you are going to increase 1. Okay, I simply make one knit stitch in every loop. So this is the increase in my previous round. So I simply make 1 knit stitch. After this I am going to increase 1, then knit 2. After that I am going to increase 1, then I simply make 1 knit stitch into the next set of loops, so until you reach the next that 2 loops. You can see, so where the 2, so this is the next 2 loops, because before this I have 1 space, after this I have 1 space, so this is the next 2 loops. So until you reach this, you simply make 1 knit stitch in every loop. Like this, you simply make 1 knit stitch. Okay, so this is the increase in my previous row. I simply make 1 knit stitch. After that I am going to increase, then this is that 2 loops, so I make 2 knit stitch, then 1 increase. So you are going to continue like this. So then I simply make 1 knit stitch in next few loops until you reach that 2 loops. So you can see, so this is the 1 increase in my previous row. Into this I simply make 1 knit stitch, then I make 1 increase, then 2 knit stitch, then 1 increase. So then you simply make 1 knit stitch in every loops. So this is very easy pattern for this sweater. Okay, now I replace the marker. Into this button part I simply make 1 knit stitch. Into the last I simply make 1 purl. So for my right side I finished. I simply turn into my wrong side. I simply make 1 purl stitch in every loop. So after that you are going to work in your right side. If you are going to work right side means you simply make increase before 2 loops and also the after 2 loops. You simply remind this. You are going to continue these 2 rows, repeat and repeat until you reach the yoke part. After reaching the yoke part, I'll show you what are the next steps for this project. And see, I continue the same pattern for 28 rows, total of 28 rows. So I have 14 small spaces like this, 1 2 3 4 5 6, like this I have 14. Now I am going to work my row 29. So continue the same. I simply slip the first loop in it twice. After that I simply make 1 knit stitch. So first 6 for used for button part. So after that I simply make 1 knit stitch in every loop. Like this I simply make 1 knit stitch until you reach that 2 loops. Okay, you can see I simply make 1 knit stitch. Now I reach these 2 loops. So this is that 2 loops. If you reach these 2 loops means before this you are going to make 1 increase. After that you are going to make 1 increase. If you have to find these 2 loops means you simply mark these 2 loops using the marker. Okay. So I am going to make increase, then knit 2 and then make 1 increase. Then I am going to make knit the next few loops until you reach the next set of 2 loops. Okay, I simply make 1 knit stitch until you reach this. You can see these are the next 2 loops. So before this I am going to make 1 increase, 2 knit stitch, then after these 2 make 1 increase. So you are going to continue like this way. After finishing this I am going to make 1 purl stitch in the wrong side. After finishing these 2 rows I will show you. Now I am going to separate sleeves from this. So for this I am going to use DPN needles, that is double pointed needles. You can use also circular needle. Now I'm going to make one knit stitch using circular needle or DPN needle. So I simply make a one knit stitch in every loop. Like this until you reach these two. You can see this is the two loops. I am going to use the first loop for the front, the second loop for the sleeve. So I am going to make one knit stitch. So I am going to use the one loop for sleeve and another loop for the front. So the next few loops is used for the sleeve. So I am going to slip these few loops into the next color of yarn. So I am going to slip the next loops like this way. You can see this is the next two loops. I am going to use the first loop for the sleeve, the second loop for the back part. So I transfer the loops into this thread. So now I am going to use these for the one sleeve. Okay, now using the second needle, now I am going to make one knit stitch in the next set of loop. I am going to continue this yarn. So I am going to hold this tightly. Now I am going to make one knit stitch in the next set of loops. You simply make one knit stitch. I nearly reach this. You can see this is the two loops. I use the first loop for the back, the second loop for the sleeve. So now I am going to slip the next set of loops into my normal needle. So I simply slip like this way. This is used for the second sleeve. This is the two loops. I use the first loop for the sleeve, the second loop for the front part. So I am going to use the second loop for the front part. So I am going to continue. I simply make one knit stitch in every loop. You can see I simply make one knit stitch. This is used for the another front. After finishing this, I'll show you. You can see now your project is look like this. So this is for two fronts, this is for two sleeves, and this is for your back part. Okay, now we are going to work round and round. If you are working in your right side, means you are simply make one knit stitch in every loop. If you are going to work in wrong side, means you are going to make purl stitch. If you reach this button part, means in that place only you are going to make knit stitch. So this is the easy way. So you simply make stock knit stitch, repeat and repeat until you reach the desired length of the sweater. So this is my wrong side of my sweater. So I simply make 6 knit stitch for the button part. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So after that I simply make one purl stitch in every loop. So you are going to continue round and round. I simply make one purl stitch. I nearly finished this. This is the last two loops. In these loops also I simply make one purl stitch. After that I remove this needle. I am going to use the second set of loops. So I am going to turn like this. So I am going to make one purl stitch in these loops. So I finished these. Now I am going to move the next set of loops, next few loops. Into this also I simply make one purl stitch. So I am going to continue like this way. So I simply make purl stitch in every front leg. Okay, this is the front leg of these loops. So I simply make one purl stitch into the front leg, not the back leg. So I finish my wrong side. I am going to work in my right side. So I simply make one knit stitch in every loop. In wrong side you simply make 6 knit stitch. After that you simply make one purl stitch into the last. Make 6 knit stitch. You are going to continue these 2 rows, repeat and repeat until you reach the desired length of the sweater. After reaching the desired length, I will show you what are the next steps for this project. See, I continue the same pattern, repeat and repeat until I reach the desired length. So bottom of this sweater I use this knitting pattern. I already upload this knitting pattern in our channel. If you like this means please check that link. I give the link in the description box. Now we are going to make the sleeve. I already make one sleeve for this sweater. So now I am going to make the another sleeve. For this project I am going to use the DPN needle. So now I am going to move these loops into my 3 DPN needles. So you can see. So like this you are going to move these loops into 3 DPN needles. You can see like this you have. Now I am going to remove this yarn. So I am going to pull this yarn. You can see. So now we are going to work the sleeve. For this I am going to start with a slip knot. So I am going to join the next yarn. I am going to make a slip knot. Now I am going to work my row 1. After making the slip knot, I am going to work row 1. So in this place I am going to start my row 1. So the pattern is same. I simply make 1 row knit stitch, the next row purl stitch, 1 row knit stitch, the next row purl stitch. Into the border for the sleeve I am going to use this pattern. So after that you are going to make a bind off. Like this way I am going to use in this sweater. So I'm going to join this yarn. This is my first knit stitch. I'm going to work knit stitch into the next loops. I make one knit stitch in every loop. I make one knit stitch in every loop. I nearly finished this row 1. This is my last loop. Into this I am going to make a purl stitch for clear edges. This is not necessary for sleeves because we are going to join, so only for that reason this is not necessary. If you like clear edges means you simply slip the first loop in knitwise. Into the last loop you are going to make a purl stitch. Now I am going to work my row 2. I am going to work around and round. So after finishing this row 1, you can see in this place you have space going to turn, so you simply make one purl stitch in every loop. After finishing this going to turn, you simply make one knit stitch. After finishing this turn, make one purl, make one knit stitch, one purl stitch. You are going to continue this repeat and repeat until you reach the desired length. In this sweater I make a border like this. So after finishing all this, I'll show you. After finishing this sleeve, you are going to fold into your wrong side. After that you are going to join these two sides. You can see now you have gap from this to this. So after finishing your sleeve, you are going to join these two sides using normal sewing thread and needle. So after finishing all these things, I will show you. I am going to finish sleeves. After that I am going to join these two sides using normal sewing needle. After finishing all this, I will show you what are the next steps for this project. Okay. See, finally our project is ready. I simply continue the same pattern. After finishing the sleeves, I am going to attach using normal thread and needle. So this is the outlook of our project. It's turned out so beautiful. It is absolutely for beginners, so beginners can try this project and share your valuable thoughts. So if you have any doubt, feel free to ask me in comment section. I try to clarify them. Okay, so all are try this project. Have a nice day. Happy with knitting. Thank you, friends.